Give it a few minutes and then get started. ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं कृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरम् नमावं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे My humble obeisances to all the Vaishnavas on the call. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयं मुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. So this chapter is departure of Lord Sri Krishna for Dwaraka. He was taking leave of Maharaj Yudhishthir and other associates in Hastinapur, and he was on his way back to Dwaraka. So when Lord Sri Krishna decided to leave, at that time Maharaj Yudhishthir, along with his brothers, they very nicely gave him a send off, very respectfully, as Krishna was departing. Uddhava and Satyaki began to fan the Lord with decorated fans, and there were beautiful scattered flowers on the road to send off the Lord. And there were different kinds of drums that were beaten and so on. Yudhishthir Maharaj ruled the country very nicely, and the Supreme Lord, he began to walk on the road, and that is when the ladies who were there in the balconies, the ladies of Hastinapur, they began to offer very, very beautiful prayers to the Lord. So we saw those prayers 2 days before, the beautiful prayers of the ladies of Hastinapur. They first identified him as the Supreme Lord. He is the original Purusha. And then they said that when he sent the living entities here to this material world, he also sent the scriptures. He manifested the scriptures, Shastrakrit, and desiring to give the jivas names and forms, he sent them to Prakriti, into this material world. And then they speak about how a living entity in this material world can actually get purified. They can get purified through the past, through the process of devotional service. And Krishna doesn't leave the devotees in the material world. He also comes from time to time and performs beautiful pastimes to steal the hearts of the devotees according to time, place, and circumstance. So he has taken many incarnations and he comes to this material world to attract the devotees, but he always remains unaffected. And especially when he comes to this material world, he removes these irreligious elements and gives protection to the devotees. So, after speaking like this about the Lord, they begin to appreciate the different devotees of the Lord. So, first and foremost thing, they say how supremely praiseworthy is the Yadu dynasty and how virtuous is Mathura Mandal, where the Lord took birth. And they speak about Dwaraka because the Lord was now going to Dwaraka. They also speak about Dwaraka and they say that this Dwaraka is more glorious than heaven. Not any ordinary heaven, but actually Dwaraka is even glorious than Vaikuntha. So, having said about the places of the Lord's pastimes, they also begin to glorify the consorts of the Lord. So, they say the wives of Lord Krishna must have performed great vows to have achieved him as their husband, and what to talk about the Brajagopis. So he glances at them and they just faint in ecstasy. So this is the nature of the Braj Gopis. And they continue to talk about all the remaining wives that Krishna had acquired. Not only did he have the eight principal queens, but he also had other wives like Rukmini, Satyabhama. Not only did he have wives like Rukmini, Satyabhama, and Jambavati, but he also had 16,000 wives, and these were the ladies that were forcibly taken away by Bhaumasura. So the women in Hastinapur are glorifying all these different consorts, and they are telling all of them are glorious. And continuing to talk about the women in the 16,100 queens, they say this final verse, which is text 1:10:30. 30 is actually a continuation of the previous verse. They should be done together because all these women, the verse begins with all these women. Who are all these women? It is specifically the 16,000 queens that were captured by Narakasur. Okay, so that is the verse from where we are going to start today. And we'll finish the chapter today. It's a very small portion that we have to finish. So, after the women in Hastinapur finish offering their prayers, we see that the Lord departs and he proceeds towards Dwaraka. So, a little bit about his travel is mentioned in this chapter. So, with that, this chapter will get over. Hmm? And if we finish quickly, then we can see a quick review of this chapter and move on to chapter 11, Krishna's entrance into Dwaraka. Okay, so that will be the plan for today. एतापरं स्त्रीत्वमपास्तपेशलं निरस्तशौचं बत साधु कुर्वते यशां गृहात् पुष्करलोचनपतिर्न जातवपैति अर्हृतिभिर्हृदि स्पृशान्. Translation: all these women auspiciously glorified by their lives, despite their being without individuality and without purity. So, what does that mean? These 16,000 women who were captured by Narakasur, they had lost their individuality and purity in the eyes of everyone. How is their individuality lost? Meaning they didn't have any independence. And they also lost their purity, it's mentioned. It's not that they completely lost their purity, but it is more like they were captive in the hands of another man. Okay, so in the eyes of society, they were pretty much not accepted by anybody, not accepted by anybody else. So these women auspiciously glorified their lives. How did they auspiciously glorify their lives? By getting married to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So all these women auspiciously glorified their lives despite their being without individuality and without purity. So they were literally outcasts. Nobody would have accepted their hand because they lived in the captivity of another man's control, right? So, our husband, the lotus-eyed personality of Godhead, Pushkara Lochanapati, he's got beautiful lotus-like eyes. The Supreme Personality of Godhead never left them alone at home. So he was giving them full attention. He took very good care of his 16,100 queens. It didn't matter how they came, from where they came, but they were all devotees. So the Lord gave them full attention. He always pleased their hearts by making valuable presentation. This is the nature of the Lord. He took care of each and every queen with full attention. He did not ignore anybody, or he did not get overwhelmed in the relationship. Um, Today's world, just one husband, one wife is a pain, right? So Krishna had 16,108 queens, and he gave full attention to all the 16,108 queens. And we see later in the 10th canto, there is a very beautiful chapter when the Narada Muni, he desires to see how Krishna is associating with his consorts, how he is able to manage his household chores, household duties. And he goes and he sees in every house Krishna is giving full attention, not only to his wives, to his children, to his duties, to all that he has to do as a householder. So that is the nature of Sri Krishna. Many people accuse, oh, Krishna had so many wives. What kind of God are you worshipping? But even if Krishna had the whole, actually, all of us are Krishna's wives. Even the people who are accusing are also Krishna's wives only. All men, women, every single living entity is the wife of the Lord. We are all, he's Purusha and we are all Prakriti. So that accusation itself is wrong. But when he took 16,108 queens, Krishna did not ignore even one person. He was able to give full attention, and all of them were satisfied. Not even one person was unhappy. We read the stories like the King Chitraketu, who had so many queens, like some, how much, like some 1 lakh, 1 million queens or something. And none of them were satisfied. Only just because only one had a child, and the rest of them plotted to kill the child. So not even one was satisfied. Like that, we don't have to give many more examples from scriptures. We see day-to-day examples in our own life, in many people's lives around us. We see examples of people not being satisfied because that is the nature of this world. We can only blame the material world for that. But see Krishna, the lives of all these women became glorious because Krishna was their husband, and he gave full attention to all of them. He never left them, or he never ignored them. He gave all his love and respect to each one of them. So Prabhupada in the purport, he mentions, the devotees of the Lord are all purified souls. We saw that in the verse it is mentioned, though they were without individuality or without purity, right? Meaning in the eyes of society, they were not seeing them as pure women. But then the purport, Prabhupada explains to us that actually all the devotees of the Lord are purified souls. How? As soon as a devotee surrenders unto the lotus feet of the Lord sincerely, when the Lord accepts them, the devotees at once they become free from all material contamination. Even if there is some material contamination, it is immediately relieved. So devotees who are surrendered to the Lord, they are beyond the three modes of material nature. And even if there is some bodily disqualification, they they are actually pure because they surrendered to the Lord. And he gives the example of the Ganges water. Sometimes the Ganges water is filled with drain and mud, but however, the Ganga is always pure. So, like that, the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord, they are always pure. And anybody can be a devotee. That is the beauty of Krishna consciousness, right? So, be it a woman or a merchant or a laborer, whoever it may be, they may not be very intelligent. But even even tribes are mentioned like Kirata, Sunas, Andhras, Pulinda, Pulkasha, Abhira, Kankas, Yavana, Khashas, all of them. You can be anybody, but once you become a devotee, you can automatically become purified by the process of Krishna consciousness. Hmm? By the engagement in the service of the Lord, the designative disqualifications are removed. And these pure souls, by the dint of devotional service, they are able to enter the kingdom of God. So, this is the power of Krishna's touch, immediate purification. We see there's so many stories, right? There is no disqualification for anybody, or there is no stoppage or any specific qualification for a person to become a devotee. Anybody can be a devotee, and by the process of devotional service, anybody can become purified. We know when Draupadi, she was calling out to Krishna in the middle of the Kurusabha. She was not in a pure physical state. But she could also surrender at that time, and the Lord immediately reciprocated. Then we see the story of Gajendra. What qualification does he have? He's an animal, but he can also call out to the Lord, and the Lord can reciprocate and take him back to Godhead. Think about Vibhishan. Vibhishan was a demon. What qualification did he have? He just surrendered to the Lord, that's all, and he was immediately accepted. So, like that, you might be a hunter, we see the story of Mrugari. You might be a tribal like Guha. You might be anybody. But then, if we sincerely approach the Lord, there is immediate purification that is offered by the Lord, and one can become eligible to even perfect their lives and go back to Godhead. So, the Sri Krishna, all these 16,000 wives, in the eyes of society, they could have been considered not very qualified, not very pure in terms of their physical bodies. But then Krishna, he accepted all of them as their queens, and he gave them full attention, and he loved them truly, and he had 10 children from each queen, right? He was very equal with everybody. Uh, Prabhupada says the Lord used to live with the 16,108 queens constantly. He expanded himself into 16,108 plenary portions, and each and every one of them was and each and every one of these expansions were the Lord Himself. So, this is a beautiful thing about the Lord. When we read the story of Shaubhari, we see that he was able to expand himself into a few forms. And there are some commentators who say that it was more like these expansions, they were not independent of each other. Even a yogi can expand himself into multiple forms, but then it's more like a robot. If one arm is lifted by the original forms, all the other are doing the same thing. They are just like replica expansions. But this, I've heard it from Maharaj lecture, that's why I'm repeating. But however, this Krishna, when he expanded, each one of them were individual forms. They were completely independent of each other. Meaning, when Narada Muni went and saw Krishna in different palace, he was able to see that Krishna was doing different activities. Each Krishna was doing a different activity. So that is the glory of the Supreme Lord. And the Shruti mantras also confirm this, that the Lord can expand into many, many forms. So, like this, he took care of all his wives. He gave them ample presentations. We also know the story of how he brought the Parijata flower for the sake of his wife Satyabhama from the heavenly world. So, like this, if anyone desires the Lord to be one's husband, the Lord fulfills such desires in full. Anybody who desired. Krishna satisfied all their desires. When the Lord came as Lord Ramchandra, Ramchandra had reservations, okay? He did not want to reciprocate in this kind of a relationship with anyone else other than Sita Devi. So you all know that the sages of Dandakaranya forest, they desired the Lord to be their wife, to be their husband, but then they had to wait for another birth and they had to see Krishna to become to dance like the gopis, to become one of the consorts of the Lord as the gopis. So the idea is that Krishna fulfills everybody's desire. He is complete, he is Purushottama. So he can reciprocate with all different kinds of living entities having different desires. So, like this, Sri Krishna took care of all the consorts. So, the ladies, as I mentioned in the previous class, they were predominantly in two rasas. One was the Shantaras, and the other was in Madhura Bhav. We're trying to follow in the footsteps of these conjugal associates of the Lord, be it the queens of Dwaraka or be it the Brajagopis. Okay. So that was the mood in which these ladies were making their offerings, their beautiful prayers. And Krishna, though he is walking somewhere down on the road and he's seeing the ladies are in the balcony and they are offering prayers, Krishna is the super soul. He can hear each and every prayer. Now, the ladies don't have to scream out and tell, "You are the Supreme Lord." They don't have to do all that. Even if they are standing in their balcony and speaking amongst themselves, glorifying the Lord hears every single prayer. Just like how when we go and stand in front of the deity and we make offerings, we know the Lord is listening, He's hearing. So, like that, though these ladies were up in the balconies and the terraces and they were talking, Krishna heard all of these and he reciprocates. How did he reciprocate? That is this verse. एवम् एवं विदा गदन्तीनां न गिरः पुरयोषितां निरीक्षणेनाभिनन्दन् संसितेन ययौ हरिः सस्मितेन ययौ हरिः Smita means a beautiful smile and hmm, uh-huh. Okay, let's see what the verse is saying. When the ladies of the capital Hastinapur were greeting him and talking to him in this way, how did the Lord reciprocate? The Lord smiling, Smita, Smita, accepting their good greetings and casting the grace of his glance on them, he departed to the city. So he did two things. What did he do? He glanced at them, that is nirikshanena. He glanced, niriksham. He glanced at them at the same time he smiled at them. So Chakravarti Path says that especially for the devotees in Shantaras, he glanced at them because they are just expecting a sidelong glance from the Lord. So he glanced at them. And for the devotees in Madhura Bhav, he smiled at them because they are looking forward to that beautiful smile of the Lord. They want to drink the nectar of the lips of the Lord and they were waiting, when will the Lord smile at me? So, like this, with he reciprocated in two ways. He glanced at them and he smiled at them. So, this was a very nice verse actually. And this is also something that we desire when we see the deity form of the Lord, right? It doesn't matter in what mood we approach the Lord, but we always look forward to two things. We look forward to not only we taking darshan of the Lord, when we go in front of the deity, two things are happening simultaneously. Yes, we are going to see the Lord, okay, but remember the Lord is also seeing us. The Lord is also glancing on us. And that glance is very purifying. That's why we go and we take darshan of the Lord and we get purified by the glance of the Lord. And not only that, you all are devotees and you must have experienced this multiple times. When we go and take darshan of the Lord, we are expecting a smile from the deity. And this happens. It's not that the deity doesn't smile at you, the deity smiles at you. That is the only thing we want. Sometimes when we could be in any mood, but then when we go and take darshan of the deity, we can sense a smile from the deity's face. So these are the only two things we are also expecting when we go and take darshan of the Lord. And this smile and this glance is the most purifying for any devotee. So the residents of Hastinapur, they became recipients of the glance and the smile of the Lord. So this is his standard way of reciprocating. Can anyone tell to whom else he reciprocated like this recently in Bhagavatam?
Hare Bol Mataji.
Yes.
Sud Goswami said that Mandam Jahas Vaikuntho Moyani.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah. That's where Bhagavan Krishna gave a smile to Mother Kunti. And
Kunti.
Mohini Maya smile is so captivating.
Hari bol.
Good Mata.
Hari bol. Yes, Prabhu. It's so captivating and it's so satisfying to the hearts. Yeah. He doesn't have to speak anything. He just has to smile. That is everything. Right? Yeah. Okay. So this was the prayer and this was the reciprocation. So Krishna is still walking. Okay. What else happened as he was walking? The description continues. अजातशत् अजातशत्रुपृतनां गोपिथाय मधुद्विष परेभ्यः शङ्कितस्नेहा प्रायुङ्क्त चतुरङ्गिणाम् अङ्गिणीम्. Who is Ajatashatru?
Maharaj Yudhishthira.
Who is Madhudvesha?
Lord Shri Krishna.
I know, yeah, Lord Shri Krishna. He is the enemy of Madhu demon. Yes. Very nice. So Ajatashatru and Madhudvisha. So what was Ajatashatru doing? Maharaj Yudhishthir, although was no one's enemy, that means he's never seen an enemy. Ajatashatru means he engaged four divisions of defense to accompany the Lord: horse, elephant, chariot, and army to accompany Lord Sri Krishna. Who is the Madhudvisha? Who is the enemy of the Madhu demon? And Maharaja did this because of the Maharaj did this because of the enemy and also out of affection for the Lord. So basically, a very important personality was leaving the town and going to a different place. So the king, he ensured that his guest was perfectly guarded. Krishna was perfectly guarded as he embarked on his journey. Hmm. And one may ask a question, oh, he's giving protection to Krishna. Krishna is giving protection to the whole world, and here we have our Ajatashatru giving protection to Krishna. But then the verse itself explains that this Maharaj, he did this not just because he was scared of the enemy and attack of the enemy, but he did this out of sheer affection for Krishna. Just like how Mother Yashoda, here Prabhupada mentions, the Lord plays the part of a subordinate in his transcendental sporting, and thus sometimes he puts himself in the care of Yashoda Maya for his protection in his so-called helplessness of childhood. Yes, the Lord is very capable of taking care of himself, but then in his childhood pastimes, he really needs protection. I mean, that's the beautiful rasa between the parent and the child, between Mother Yashoda and the child Krishna. Similarly, sometimes, though Krishna is everyone's well-wisher, though Krishna is capable of being protecting the whole world, in fact, it was only under Krishna's protection that the Pandavas even won the war, right? But then, out of affection, Yudhishthir Maharaj, he wants to give protection to Krishna. It is out of sheer love and affection that an elder brother would like to do it. So, like that, there were different natural defensive measures like horses, elephants, combined with chariot and men that were sent as a part of the army to give protection to Sri Krishna. Hmm? So that's what is mentioned in this verse. And as Krishna was walking, so all this protection was given and Krishna proceeded. So next. Atadhuragatan Shauri. Who's Shauri?
Lord Krishna.
Why? So, any thoughts?
Mataji, he's Shulasen's grandson.
Yes, correct. Yes, you're right. Yeah. Shurasena's grandson. So that's why it's called Shauri. Other meanings are also there for Shauri. This Shauri word is one of the very famous names of Lord Krishna, but it has multiple dimensions of meaning. So the correct, of course, you said because he's Shurasena's Vamshi, so he's Shauri. Shauri is also a great warrior, a great a person who has great valor. He's also Shauri. Shauri is another meaning, very Rasik meaning. One who he's uh, it's okay. I think we'll leave it because this is difficult to explain. It is there in down south. They say Shauri because he's actually got beautiful hair, and there is a name of Lord Sri Krishna called as Shauri Raja. Okay. Of course, the direct meaning is that he is the descendant of Shurasen and also he is very valorous. These are the direct meanings for Shauri. It is one of the very common names of Sri Krishna. Somebody raised hand up, trying to move the back.
Dhammapada Mata.
Yeah. Go ahead, Prabhu.
I had heard Sripad Radha Govind Swami in one of his lecture. He says in English people say sorry, I'm sorry, like that. That way also they can benefit. That's what he said. Which was
Sorry.
funny.
Yes, Hari Bol. Beautiful. Somehow or the other, every word is indicating Krishna, right? Yeah. Anyway, very nice, Prabhuji. So the Shauri, why did we stop there? Yeah. Athadhuragatan Shauri Kuruvan Virahaturan Sannivartya Dridham Snikthan Prayatsva Nagarim Priya. Out of profound affection for Lord Krishna, the Pandavas, who were of the Kuru dynasty, accompanied him to a considerable distance to see him off. They were overwhelmed with the thought of future separation. The Lord, however, persuaded them to return home and he proceeded to Dwaraka with his dear companions. So, this is a beautiful tradition. Whenever a guest is leaving, we don't bang the door on their face. Rather, the tradition is to walk with them at least 10 steps. Hmm? We should walk them out of the door and we should go with them for at least 10 steps minimum. You can go with them till the end of the road also, no problem. But you should walk at least 10 steps. Then wait till they leave, wave your hand, and then come and close the door. So this is traditional Vedic way of sending off guests. Even if that guest has come for 1 minute, it is etiquette to walk out of the door. Okay. Because they have come to our house, it's as simple as that. We walk. Sometimes you can even accompany if you're living in a flat, like in an apartment, you can even accompany them downstairs and then see them off in the car and then come back. So this is something very basic everybody does. This is proper etiquette. So they walked a considerable distance to see him off. It's a very beautiful poetic mention by Valmiki in the Ramayana. He says when Hanuman took off his flight, when he jumped from Mahendragiri and he jumped towards Lanka, at that time, Valmiki writes, who was there to send him off? Of course, the Vanaras were down. They were not on top of Mahendragiri. What happened was Hanuman went and he climbed up Mahendragiri so that he can take off from there and cross the ocean. It's a mountain. So he climbed up the mountain. It was a good, like just like a helicopters, they have to take off from a proper footing, right? So like that, he went and he stood on the mountain and he was ready to take off. And the Vanaras were all down near the shore and they were waving to him and saying bye bye. But who gave him send off, as he was going up, like when you see something flying off like a rocket or something, you see there is a lot of dust and other ingredients that is carried off. So like that, Valmiki says there were little pieces of grass, stems of, I mean, not stem, but the branches of trees, and then little pebbles, little rocks, mud, all this went up with Hanuman to some distance, just like how hosts send off guests to some, they walk with them for some distance and then say bye bye. So like that, these little rocks, the sand, a few sticks and all that, they went up with Hanuman for some distance and then they fell off. But Hanuman took off and he went. So like that, the Pandavas also, they walk with Krishna for some distance and they see him off. We see this again and again in Chaitanya Leela. It's very famous. Every time Mahaprabhu is going somewhere, the devotees are all walking with him. They are not ready to leave him. But then eventually, like how here it is in this verse, it is said that Krishna had to forcibly ask them to go back. Like that, Mahaprabhu would forcibly tell everyone to go back. And we know how Gadadhar Pandit was so sad. He didn't want to go, but he had taken Kshetra Sannyas, so he had to stay back. Yes, Sadamani Mataji.
Mataji, I remember in Ramayana also when Lord Ram was going to exile, the Ayodhya Vasis, they were also following him. And then Lord Ram had to go when they were sleeping.
Hmm. Yeah, correct. When he was going to the forest, you're right. They didn't want to leave him. They accompanied, and then he had to leave them when they were sleeping. 100% beautiful, Mataji. Hmm. Okay. Now, what was the path that he took that is mentioned here? So he walked out and then forcibly he had to ask the Pandavas to go back and he started proceeding towards Dwaraka. What was the route that he took? That is mentioned here. Kurujangala Panchalam Shurasenan Sayamunan Brahmavartam Kurukshetram Matsyan Saraswatannata Marudhanvam Atikramya Sauvira Hirayo Paran Anarthan Bhargavopakach Shranat Vaho Manag Vibhu. Anyone wants to read translation?
Hare Krishna Mataji. O Shaunaka, the Lord then proceeded towards Kurujangla, Panchala, Shurasena, the land on the bank of the river Yamuna, Brahmavarta, Kurukshetra, Matsya, Saraswata, the province of the desert, and the land of scanty water. After crossing these provinces, he gradually reached the Sauvira and Abhira provinces. Then, west of these, reached Dwaraka at last. Thank you, Mataji.
Very cool. So this is the map. Someone can. Generally, kids they like to do this project. When such verses are there, they go to the India map and they start marking these places and they create a route. But we are not kids, so we are not going to do that. We're just going to see the purport directly. So the provinces that the Lord passed in those days were differently named. Today, the names could be a slightly different. But you can see that the direction that he took was he passed through places like Delhi, Punjab, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Saurashtra, and Gujarat, and finally he reached the province of Dwarka. Okay, these places are still intact, but sometimes the names have changed slightly. Next, Prabhupada comments about the fact that scientists say that the desert of Rajasthan is a recent development. They say that it was a recent geological development. Prabhupada says in the purport that many scientists and geologists, they comment like that. But it is not true. It is not true. These deserts have been existing from a very, very long time in the Rajasthan area. And now I don't know why today so much Ramayana references are coming. Actually, this desert formation, there is a reference in Ramayana how this Rajasthan Maru came into existence. When Lord Ramchandra was shooting an arrow against Samudraraj, First, he did Prayopavesha, that is, for 3 days he fasted, sleeping on dharba grass, and he wanted Samudra Raj to appear in front of him so that he could ask Samudra Raj how to cross the ocean in a proper way. But Samudra Raj did not appear, and at the end of 3 days, instead of Lakshman getting angry, Ramchandra got angry, and he picked up an arrow. He asks Lakshman, "Go and bring an arrow. I'm going to shoot down this entire Indian Ocean, and I'm going to dry it with my arrow." And Lakshman, very hesitatingly, he gives an arrow. And when Lord Ramchandra takes a name to dry the entire ocean, that's when Samudra Raj appears in front of him, and he presents him with jewels and other things. And that is when Ramchandra says, you didn't come for 3 days, so I really got angry and I decided to dry you up. But now that you have come, you have to tell me a way to cross this ocean. And of course, Samudra Raj gives him an idea, and finally he constructs a bridge. All that happens. But then Ramchandra, he asks Samudra Raj, "What should I do with this arrow? I already chanted the mantra and it is ready to release." Now, once it has been activated, these astras. So, astra is something that is activated by a mantra. If it is not activated by a mantra, it's a shastra. Okay, shastra is just a dry weapon, like a sword or a piece of sharpened arrow or a gada. All these are shastras. Okay, they are not activated by mantras. Once you activate it with a mantra, it's called as astra, like Brahmastra, Vayavastra, Agneastra, like that. You have so many astras. So now he had chanted a mantra to dry up. So when he asked Samudra Raj, "What should I do with this?" Samudra Raj said, "If you desire, you please do me a favor. Shoot it in," he says, "in towards the northern direction, where there are some people who are performing a lot of impious activity, and they are drinking my waters, and I want them to stop doing it." And that is when the Ramchandra, he directs that arrow towards that land, and it falls in this region called as Maru, and it became Marwar. That is the Rajasthan area, and still you can see river Luna. It's actually saltwater river that comes from within beneath the land from where the arrow was shot. So this is all there, okay? So this deserted area, Prabhupada says this deserted area, some geologists are telling it's a very recent development. But no, when Krishna was there also, it was there. Actually, it was created long back during Treta Yuga when Ramchandra was there. So that is about the Maru that is mentioned here. Here also it's called as Maru. The names are the same. I read it, no? So Amaru, Rajasthan, you see, Rajasthan, the land of distance. Like that. Okay. Here. Okay, Krishna proceeds. Tatra tatraha tatraityair hari pratyudyatarahanah sayam bheje disham paschat gavistogam gatastada. Anyone wants to read translation?
Hare Krishna. On his journey through these provinces, he was welcomed, worshipped, and given various presentations. In the evening, in all places, the Lord suspended his journey to perform evening rites. This was regularly observed after sunset. Hare Krishna.
So as the Lord was moving in his journey, obviously, anytime he was passing through villages and towns, people welcomed him. They gave him proper articles of worship and so on. Same thing we see even in Lord Chaitanya's travels also. We see people from time to time, they welcome the Lord. They give him suitable lunch and dinner and so on. So not only that, as he was passing through different places, he was blessing these people by passing through those places. But also the Lord never forgot his duties. Wherever he was, he would perform his evening rites. This is interesting. We say Yadyadacharati Shreshtas, right? As great people do, common men follow. Krishna never forgot his duties. Krishna doesn't have to do his duty. Krishna is not duty bound. He's the creator of the duties. He's the creator of the laws. He's not bound by the law, right? But still, he chooses to perform duties to set an example to the world. That is why Krishna performs duty. Krishna also says that in Bhagavad Gita, why he performs duty. He is not bound by karma, or he doesn't have to do duties, but he does it to show the world by good example. That's why Prabhupada says he does not depend on action of any good or bad work. Since the Lord is absolute, everything done by him is for the good of everyone. He acts for the protection of devotees and for the annihilation of the impious devotees. Although he has no obligatory duty, he still does everything so that others may follow. Okay, so he sets a good example. He's not doing something for pious credits or something, right? He is an awarder of the fruitive results. He's self-sufficient. He doesn't need to take any credit by doing this duty. But then he does it so that people can follow. But at the same time, Prabhupada says, you follow all these things of Krishna, how he was a perfect householder, how he would perform his Sandhya Sandhya, Vandana and all that. Follow all that. But you don't have to imitate him when he lifts the Govardhan hill or when he's dancing with the gopis. So we should know what to follow, how much we should follow, what to follow. But imitation doesn't do any good. So like this, if he's doing something extraordinary, Prabhupada says, please don't imitate it. A living being cannot imitate it. So his lifting the mountain or dancing with the gopis should not be imitated. One cannot imitate the sun, which can exhaust water from a filthy place. The most powerful can do something which is great, which is all good. But our imitation of such acts will only put us in more and more difficulty. Like Lord Shiva, where he might be taking ganja. But if we are doing that, then we are only going to get into more and more lung diseases, right? So therefore, in all actions, the experienced guide, the spiritual master, whose manifested mercy of the Lord should always be consulted, and the path of progress is assured. So if at all we have a confusion, what should we follow, what we should not follow, we can always ask our spiritual master, and he will tell us what is right and what is wrong. Okay, so like this, Krishna, he had his journey, and wherever he went, he was welcomed by people. They gave him presentations. He would stop for his Sandhya Vandana and so on. He would do his duties and he proceeded. With that, this chapter is over. And we can do a quick review with the PowerPoint and then I'll move on to chapter 11. Okay. Give me a second while I open it. Someone has a hand raised. So, Sadamni Mataji, you want to ask something?
Yes, Mataji. Actually, I was thinking that desert thing that you discussed just now. Is it only the desert in India, Mataji, in Rajasthan area? Not that big Sahara desert and not those.
It's actually Thar Desert. Yeah, Thar Desert. Thar is in Rajasthan, right?
Its origin is like that from Lord Ramachandra said. Okay.
Thar Desert. Yeah, the origin of Thar Desert is what they mentioned. Is in the Rajasthan area, and that comes because of this step, not Sahara. It's Thar. Even I get confused in the names. Yeah. Anyway. So this is a summary of chapter 10, the departure of Lord Krishna for Dwaraka. So in the previous chapter, we saw the passing away of Bhishma Dev. And in this chapter, it begins with a question that was asked to Sota Goswami. Was Yudhishthir able to rule without any misgivings? And our Sota Goswami, he says that yes, Yudhishthir Maharaj was enlightened from his misgivings. His misgivings were eradicated and he followed according to dharma. And because he ruled according to dharma, the kingdom was very, very prosperous and the citizens were very happy. So we saw how everybody was cooperating nicely. It was raining on time. The cows were cheerful and happy, and there was surplus production in the fields. So everybody was very happy, and the citizens were also very happy by Yudhishthir Maharaj's rule. And Lord Sri Krishna, he chose to stay with them for some time, especially because of his affection towards Subhadra. And after staying there for a while, it was time for Krishna to depart. So he went and asked permission from Yudhishthir Maharaj. Yudhishthir Maharaj and the Pandavas, they were feeling unbearable separation from Sri Krishna. And we saw this very beautiful verse, how a person, when he hears Harikatha, and he has to be separated from Harikatha, that is very painful for an ordinary conditioned soul. Then what to talk about the Pandavas? The Pandavas, they could not tolerate the separation of the Lord because they were intimately associating with the Lord in person. They were seeing him face to face, they were touching him, they were conversing with him, sleeping on the same bed, sitting with him, dining with him, and so on. So their hearts melted in affection. And the women, all their names is mentioned, Kunti, the Kandari, everybody, all of them, men, women, everybody came. And especially the women were trying to control their tears because they thought it will be inauspicious to be crying when the Lord is leaving. And then Krishna appropriately honored everybody. He fell at the feet of Yudhishthir Maharaj. Yudhishthir Maharaj embraced him. He embraced Bhima and Arjun, and then Nakul Sahadev. They took blessings of Sri Krishna. And as he was moving in the road, there were various musical instruments that were sounded. And we have Satyaki and Arjun, Uddhava. Uddhava and Satyaki fanning Madhupati, and Arjun holding up an umbrella. At that time, the women, they got onto the roofs and because they wanted to see the Lord proceed. And the Brahmanas were walking in the front chanting benedictions. The ladies in Hastinapur, they were very, very great. They knew who this Lord was, and they began to sing beautiful glories of the Lord in select poetry. And the talk of the ladies of Hastinapur was even better than the chants of the Vedas. So just like how Krishna enjoys the chastisement of Mother Yashoda than the great prayers in the Vedas, similarly, Krishna was very pleased with the prayers of the women in Hastinapur. And how did they pray to him? They said he is the original Mahapurusha. He is Shastrakrit. He is the one who has manifested the scriptures and he placed the jivas under Prakriti. And being in this material world, a person can understand the Lord's beautiful form only if he's dedicated to the process of bhakti. The Lord comes to this world to display his confidential pastimes, and all his activities are praiseworthy. He comes from time to time, he gives protection to the devotees and annihilates the miscreants. And then they begin to talk about the devotees of the Lord, and especially the devotees who are in conjugal rasa. They praise the Dwarakavasis. They also praise Mathura Bhumi, and then they think about the wives of Sri Krishna, who might have gone through so many different kinds of rituals and fasts to get Krishna as their husband. And then they also think about the Brajavasis, who are the best of the conjugal associates of the Lord. And finally, they wrap up saying even the 16,000 queens who were held captive by Bhaumasura, even they were accepted by the Supreme Lord. And the Supreme Lord took very good care of all of that. That is the beauty of the Lord. And how did the Lord reciprocate? He glanced at them and he smiled at them. So then Yudhishthir Maharaj, he arranged for 4 divisions of defense, and the Pandavas, they accompanied with the Lord for some distance and they were asked to return. The Lord passed through various provinces like Panchala, Kurujangala and so on, and wherever he went, he was welcomed and honored, and he never forgot his duties. As and when needed, he would stop and perform his duties. Though he is not bound by duty, he does these to set an example. So that is what we saw. Okay. Now we have to see how Lord Sri Krishna enters into Dwarka. So we'll do a few verses and then we can stop. So this chapter is titled Lord Sri Krishna's Entrance into Dwaraka. So in the previous chapter, he was leaving for Dwaraka. Now he's entering Dwaraka. So this is 11th chapter, verse number 1. Sutta uvacha anartansa upavrajya svardhanyana padan swakan dadmau dharavaram tesham vishadam shamayanniva. Anyone for translation?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, yes, Mataji.
Suta Goswami said, upon reaching the border of his most prosperous metropolis, known as the country of the Anthras, Dwaraka, the Lord sounded his auspicious conch shell, heralding his arrival and apparently pacifying the dejection of the inhabitants.
So when he reached up, yeah. Haribol. So, like this, Suta Goswami said, the Lord departed and he came to the precincts of the country of Anartha. Anartha country has the city Dwarka. So, he came to that place. As he reached the border of this place, what did he do? Dhatmau Daravaram. Daravaram is a word also that indicates conch shell. So Dharam actually, I think the root is more like it is. There is like a cleft or a passage or a hole. Um, what do you call that? You see the conch, right? It has a passage. It has a hole.
It's like the Dwaram, right, Mataji?
Dwaram,
Dwaram.
yeah, something like that. Yeah. So basically, it's a cleft. So because it has that, it's called as Dharavara. Conch shell. It is Shankar is another name. Dharavara is another name. So because it has when you blow through the conch, it passes the air passes through that cleft, right? That hole, and then it comes out as sound. And so it's called as Dharavara. Okay. So the conch shell. And when he sounded the conch shell, sounded Dadmau Dharavaram Tesham Vishadam Shamayaniva. So this Vishada means dejection. Why dejection? Who's dejected here? Who's dejected?
Dwarkavasis, right?
Oh, yeah, the Dwarkavasis. Why are they dejected? Because they are separated from Krishna. It's interesting. Everybody, the Brajavasis went through the most. They went through the most dejection because Krishna just left them and he went away, never to be seen again. Because we do talk of a couple of instances when they could see Krishna. But generally, they say, okay, Krishna went away for good. From there, they felt the most separation. But we should remember that even the Dwarkavasis and Mathuravasis and Hastinapuravasis, they are also feeling separation from time to time. We see this in Kunti's Stuti also. Kunti also says sometimes you just go away to Mathura, sometimes you go away to Dwaraka, and then we don't see you. She also laments. She also goes through this Vishada. Vishada is lamentation of separation. They were feeling that great separation. Now, Dwarkavasis, we think Krishna was always in Dwarka, but he leaves Dwaraka and he goes to Hastinapur. So, this is what Krishna does to everybody. So, they were also feeling that dejection. When will my Lord come back? And this heralding his arrival, hearing this auspicious function was pacifying the dejection of inhabitants. Anyone can give parallels when hearing the conch shell, something happened to somebody, how they felt, whether they felt happy, they felt sad, any parallels you can draw.
In the Kurukshetra war, when they heard the conch shell, the Kauravas were a little afraid. No, that is there.
Yeah, their hearts were shattered.
Yeah.
Salamni Mate.
Yes, Mataji, I remember another instance when Rukmini Devi, Krishna was coming to take Rukmini Devi, then also he blew his conch shell. And Shishupal and Rukmi, they heard Krishna's conch shell. And Shishupal immediately identified, oh, that is Krishna's conch shell. So they also felt that fear.
Anything else? Someone else also wanted to say. I couldn't hear the voice.
Mataji, also Hanumanji in the Kapidwaja when he was
No.
down. That's
Yeah,
a
Hanumanji was in Kapidwaja. Yeah. He was also roaring. His roars were shattering the hearts of people. And also, when the same context, when Kauravas' hearts were shattered, it was a sign of the Pandavas' victory, just as blowing of the conch shell. Panchajanyam Rishikesha, all that verses there, no? When he blows the conch shell, it was uproarious. It was a sign of victory. Yeah, I was also thinking another incident when Krishna goes to reclaim the son of Sandipani Muni. Is that when he goes and he blows the conch shell in the hellish planet, right? And is that if you remember, I remember somehow that was getting into my mind now. That time the impious people's hearts were shattered, and it was pacifying those who were devotees. That particular sound of the conch shell. So that sound of the conch shell. It is very pacifying for those who are devotees and who are yearning to get the association of the Lord. Okay, so let's see what Prabhupada is telling. Prabhupada says the beloved Lord was away from Dwarka for a very long time because of the battle of Kurukshetra, and then he had to pacify the people in Hastinapur. So the Dwarkavasis, they were going through a lot of depression actually in separation from Krishna. And these associates in Dwaraka, they are eternal associates of the Lord, and they love the Lord so much. So they cannot bear the separation of the Lord. They have so much intense affection for the Lord. So they were feeling very dejected. But then, when the heralding sound of the auspicious conch shell was heard, it was very encouraging, and they immediately got relieved from all their dejection. They became very alert. They thought, oh, this is the Lord. They became very alert and they went running to go and receive the Lord. So imagine after a break, after a long time, when the Lord returns, we say in mundane poetry, where the Nayaka and the Nayaki are glorified, that the hero, he goes away to a far off land for a long time, and then the heroine, she's waiting for her lord to come, for her husband to come, and then there is an intense happiness in that union. This we talk about mundane world, and even in Vritrasura Stuti also it's there, right? This comparison. So we talk about this as being great, but then think about separation from the Lord for eternal associates. How much more intense that separation should be, right? So the Dwarkavasis, they were so much relieved when they heard this conch shell. Let's see what next. Sa uchchakashe धवलो धरो धरो अपि उरुक्रमस्य धरशोणशोणिमा दद्मायमानः करखञ्जसम्पुते यथाब्जखण्डे कलहंस उत्सवन. Anyone for translation?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. A white and fat bowled conch shell, being gripped by the hand of Lord Krishna and sounded by him, appeared to be reddened by the touch of his transcendental lips. It seemed that while a white swan was playing in the stems of red lotus flowers. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, you can imagine this. Thank you, Prabhu. You can imagine the scene. It seemed like a white swan was playing in the stems of red lotus flowers. The Lord's reddish lips touching that white conch shell. It was nice, white, fat, bowled conch shell. And it was gripped by the transcendental hand of Lord Krishna, and it was touching uh, the lips of Krishna that was reddish, and that entire conch shell appeared to become reddened because of the reflection of the lips. Imagine a nice shiny conch shell, reflective conch shell, and the red lips of the Lord touching the edge of that conch shell, that entire conch shell, because of its shiny surface and the shine of that pinkish lips falls on the surface of the conch, it appears that the entire conch has become somewhat reddish. And that is one part of the analogy. The other part is that this white, beautiful, fat conch shell was looking like a swan. It was like as if a swan is playing in the stems of red lotus flowers that it is touching. Such a beautiful sight. And we often glorify the flute, that the flute has the great blessing of tasting the nectar of the lips of the Lord. You know, another competitor for the flute, it is the conch shell. The conch shell also has the great fortune of touching the reddish lotus lips of the Lord. Of course, the gopis are in their Gopi Geet, they are talking about the flute. But we can see for a more that is for Vraj Krishna. Vraj Krishna doesn't play conch shell. He only plays the flute. But then we see for the Dwarkavasis, probably this conch shell is a good competition for the conjugal lovers in Dwarka. Because
Mataji,
Krishna.
may I add about this Arvas who said Karpuram Narumo,
Yes.
Kamalapu Narumo, Tirupavada Chevaidan, Titti Tirkumo, Moruporinda Madhavantan, Vaisavayum Natamum, Viriputru Kirkindrain, Solari Vimsange. I don't know, many people may not understand Tamil, but that is how Arvas praise the corn shell.
Yeah, and I just stole that from them. So can you please give the explanation in English, Mataji?
The thing is, we have different Arvas here who praise Krishna in various forms, and one of the Arvas, he praised Krishna because he uses the conch shell. In what way is that the beautiful fragrance of camphor, and then the fragrance of lotus, then the sweet nectar of his lips. All this he describes and says he's very envious of the conch shell because you are able to feel everything together at one point. So why don't you tell about this to me? That's how he describes.
Mm. So he tells the conch shell, why don't you tell me about the beautiful fragrance of the lips of Krishna? Because you're the one who's tasting it. Is that right, Mataji?
Yes, yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Yes. The conch shell is a receiver of the lips, the lip touch, lip touch, Prabhupada is telling. The red lip touch of Sri Krishna. Yes, Vrinda Vaishnavi.
Mataji, may I know which Alvar was that, Mataji?
Padmini Mataji, I don't remember.
The Nammalvar, if I'm right.
Nammal.
I think
Thank
so, Mataji. So,
It should be because he was the one who was in
in
the
that Baba, Mataji. Yeah,
in the
that is
yeah.
why.
Yeah, it should be
Yeah.
Nammal. He was the
Nammalvar
one.
only because yes, Mataji, because he was in that bhava, so he said he was
Yeah.
talking about the sweetness of his lips. Yeah.
Yes. 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 Naika Bhav he had.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Mm. So, okay. Prabhupada's purport. The redness of the white conch shell due to the lip touch of the Lord is a symbol of spiritual significance. So Prabhupada has some very nice insights. This purport can we read because we should know how Prabhupada has relished every word and he gets very poetic, extremely poetic, and he draws such beautiful analogies. Every sentence is a new analogy, and every sentence he is seeing a different vision. So let's read. It'll be nice to read if you want to take turns. It's a short purport. So, anybody?
I can read, Mataji.
Okay, please. Please go ahead.
The redness of the white conch shell due to the lip touch of the Lord is a symbol of spiritual significance. The Lord is all spirit, and matter is ignorance of his spiritual existence. Factually, there is nothing like matter in spiritual enlightenment. And this spiritual enlightenment takes place at once by the contact of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Maybe somebody else can continue.
Mhm.
I can do Hare Krishna. The Lord is present in every particle of all existence, and He can manifest His presence in anyone. By ardent love and devotional service to the Lord, or in other words, By spiritual contact with the Lord, everything becomes spiritually redundant, like the conch shell in the grip of the Lord. And the Paramahamsas, or supremely intelligent person, plays the part of ducking swan in the water of spiritual bliss, eternally decorated by lotus flower of the Lord's feet. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for reading it. So I was seeing so many layers here. First, Prabhupada talks about the redness of the white conch shell is due to the lip touch of the Lord as a symbol of spiritual significance. Remember, we were telling that his reddish lips, when it's falling on the reflective surface of the conch shell, it appears very reddish. That was the first part of the verse. So he says you can compare this to a person's a person's connection with the Lord. The Lord, He's always all spirit, okay? And matter in this world is ignorance of the spiritual existence. We in this material world or anything in this world, matter as such, is ignorance of spiritual existence. So, and Krishna, since he's all spirit, he doesn't have anything material in him. Okay, so they are opposites pretty much. Factually, there's nothing like matter and spiritual enlightenment. And the spiritual enlightenment takes place as the minute there is a contact with the Supreme Lord Krishna for matter. So matter has nothing spiritual. Krishna, who is all spiritual, doesn't have any matter. But then when the two touch each other, then there is enlightenment. Okay, just like how when that lip touched that conch shell, there was a reflection and the entire conch became reddish. Similarly, we also can get, though we are matter, okay, we are matter means what we are stuck in this material world. And Krishna is all spirit. When he comes and touch with us, touch with our consciousness, it can spiritualize us. That entire conch became reddish, right? Because of the reflection, like that, we can also get spiritual enlightenment. That is what Prabhupada is saying. That is the first poetic analogy he brings out. And then he says, everything can become reddened, like because of the grip of the Lord and the touch of his lip. So it's pretty much like he holds us, and he with contact with us, he can make us spiritual by his grip. And Prabhupada also gives the example of that swan that is playing in the red lotus stalk. We saw the second part of the verse, right? A white swan playing in the stems of the red lotus flower. He's saying that white swan is like the Paramahamsas. Paramahamsas are these acharyas. They are the supremely intelligent people. They are the ducking swan. That means they are the swan that is going in the waters that is in touch with that red stalk. What is that red stalk? It is Krishna, right? So they are in touch, they are eternally decorated by that reddish stalk, but here he is telling they are decorated by the lotus flower at the Lord's feet. The lotus flower at the Lord's feet, okay, just imagine that reddish stalk with the lotus flower. That is the Lord's feet with the lotus flower. And this one that is ducking is the Paramahamsa who's in. So like that, he splits the verse into two parts and then he gives these two analogies. So that's Prabhupada's brilliance. And it's there only in Prabhupada's purport. It's not there in any other commentary. So Prabhupada sometimes, he just gets very excited and he starts writing very poetic purports like this. Yes, Praladananda Prabhu?
Dhanuparam Mataji. Although Prabhupada Maharaj has not mentioned this, but there is an alternate reading for the word Yathabja Khande. Right? You read Sridhar Maharaj commentary, he says Abja Shande, not Khande.
Shande.
Shande means Samuh. So he writes Abja Shande Rakta Kamal Samuhe. Kalahamso Rajhansa Utsvan Ucha Sabdo Yatha Tadvat. So he explains that there's only not one devotee, but Samu. So Shand means collection of so many lotus flowers. So that's what I noticed in his commentary like that. Thank you.
Haribol, yeah, I saw that in Chakravarti Pada as well.
Yeah.
Yes, I think he has adapted from Sridhar Swami. You're right. He says collection of lotus flowers in the beginning.
Sunday instead of Khanda.
Yes, Shande.
Sunday is like that. Okay, Haribol Mata.
Jaya. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for bringing it out.
Very good.
Very good. Next one. Tam upashrutya nin, ninandam jagat bhaya भयावहं प्रत्युद्ययु प्रजा सर्वा भर्तृदर्शनलालसा. Anyone? Bhartrudarshanalasa. Bhartrudarshanalasa. Anyone for the translation?
May I read, Mata?
Yes, Prabhuji.
The citizens of Dwaraka, having heard that sound which threatens fear personified in the material world, began to run towards him fast, just to have a long desired audience with the Lord, who is the protector for all the devotees. Hari Bol.
Yeah. Darshana Lalasa, they really desired to go and see the Lord, so they went running. They went running out when they heard this sound that can chastise fear personified. So the sound is very pleasing to the ears of the devotees and very fearful to the ears of those who are not devotees or those who are against devotees, you can say. So the people who were in Dwaraka, Prabhupada says that they were already liberated souls and they are eternal associates of the Lord and they were waiting to get the Lord's audience. Actually, they are never separated from the Lord, they are continuously in spiritual contact. But then, when they heard that the Lord has come, they went running to receive him. And Prabhupada draws the parallel of the Vraja gopis. He says, just as the gopis in Vrindavan, they used to think of Krishna when he was away from the village for cowherding engagements. The citizens of Dwaraka were also immersed in thought of Krishna while he was away when he went to attend the battle of Kurukshetra. So these gopis, the young girls of Vrindavan, when Krishna would go out into the forest to herd the cows, that time the young girls, they would feel intense separation from Krishna and they would be waiting when is the moon going to rise. Because once there is moonrise, they can go and they can join Krishna in the night pastimes and they can dance with Krishna. But however, the cowherd boys, they didn't like the moon. They would always wait for sunrise. Why? Only when the sun rises, the cowherd boys can go out into the pasture grounds with Krishna. So, like that, everybody's desire continuously was when will Krishna be with me? So, the separation period is very, very difficult. So, just like how the Vrindavan Vasis would feel intense separation and they would be waiting when will we see Krishna. Similarly, the Dwarka Vasis also they were feeling that separation because Krishna had gone to fight the battle of Kurukshetra. So, like this, as soon as they heard that Krishna has come, when they heard his conch shell sound, they went running to receive Krishna. So they were put in a state of melancholy at night because of the absence of the sun. Prabhupada says the sound heralded by Lord Krishna was something like heralding the sunrise in the morning. So all the citizens of Dwaraka awoke from that state of slumber because of the sunrise. Krishna had come and they hastened towards him to have his audience. So the devotees, they don't know anybody other than Krishna as their protector. That's why here the word Bhartu or protector is mentioned. Bhartrudarshana, it is mentioned. Bhartu's husband, protector, all that is Bhartu, right? So just because that protector had come, they went running. So like this. Mm. So this is the position of the Lord. And Prabhupada says, when the Lord's conch shell was heard, fear personified is scared, right? That verse is there in that was the meaning of the verse. So in the purport, Prabhupada mentions that our nature in this material world um, is that we are always conditioned by fear in this material existence. There is a fear all the time for us in this material world. There is food problem, there's shelter problem, there is fear problem, there's mating problem. Like this, there is more and more problem. We are always fearful due to our ignorance of the next problem. So the whole material existence is full of problems, and fear problem is always prominent because we are in touch with that illusory energy of Krishna. But then when we hear the sound of the Lord, then all this fear can be dissipated. And how to hear the sound of the Lord? Of course, we cannot expect the Lord to come and blow his conch shell for us. But then the same spiritual sound is there in the Mahamantra. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us this Mahamantra: Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
बहुत देर
So
से
we
उठा रहा हूँ उत्कृष्ट को, वो तो उठ नहीं रहा, तेरा भी फोन रिंगिंग रिंगिंग नहीं आ रहा था, फिर मैंने व्हाट्सएप वो ऑडियो कॉल करी।
Yes, Ajay Govind
उठा दे
Prabhu,
फिर,
that's very,
6:15
very
तो कब के हो
bad. Okay, so we can take advantage of these sounds and be free from all threatening problems of material existence by chanting the Mahamantra. Last verse for today. We have 10 minutes. Let's see if we can do this verse. तत्रो प्रणीत बलयो रवेर्दीपं निवात्रत आत्मानात्मानं पूर्णकामं निजलाभेन नित्यदा प्रीति उत्फुल्लमुखाप्रोचुर्हर्षगद्गदया गिरा पितरं सर्वसौहृदम् अवितारं निवार्भका. Anyone would like to read translation?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
The citizens arrived before the Lord with their respective presentations, offering them to the fully satisfied and self-sufficient one, who by his own potency incessantly supplies others. These presentations were like the offering of a lamp to the sun. Yet the citizens began to speak in ecstatic language to receive the Lord, just as birds welcome their guardian and father.
Very well. Yeah. So when these devotees, they went running to see the Lord, they went with some beautiful presentations. And the Lord is the source of everything. He is the one who is giving us incessant supplies of everything. But then to show their affection, they took insignificant presentations, just like how you show a lamp to the sun. What is showing a torchlight to the sun or showing the lamp to the sun? It is nothing, right? Like that, the Lord has provided us with everything, incessant supply of everything. But still, as a token of affection, these people, they went running with presentations to see the Lord. And the citizens began to speak ecstatic language to receive the Lord, just like how little kids, when they see their father and they have not yet learned how to talk, they're saying something, "Ah, pa, pa, pa," like that. When they're just talking something, they're just blabbering something like that. They're trying to receive the Lord with sweet words, but what words is sufficient to glorify the Lord? So nice, right? This verses. So it's telling us about our incapability, but then out of affection, when we speak when we glorify the Lord with some prayer, or when we are giving some gifts to the Lord, all this is insignificant. Nothing can match the glory of the Lord, but still the Lord accepts it as a token of affection. My Guru Maharaj often gives this example of when he was a child, he went and picked a rose from his mother's garden and gave it to his mother on her birthday, and she felt that was the biggest gift she could have ever received. Though she is the owner of that garden, though she has watered that rose and she's the one, everything belongs to her, but still when a child out of affection picks something what belongs to the parent and goes and gives it innocently as a gift, the parent is very, very happy. And Prabhupada gives the famous example of a boy taking some food that is being cooked by his mother and the food that is being earned by the father. He takes a little bit from his plate and he puts it in the mouth of his father. How happy the father will be to receive that food from the little hands of his son. So, like that, though we are insignificant, we cannot do anything. Think about the story of Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj, he was so flabbergasted when he saw the Lord. He was not able to offer prayers. The Lord understood his predicament. So, the Lord placed the conch shell on his forehead so that he could be empowered to speak something. Some jnana would dawn onto him and he would be empowered to speak. Where did it come from? Where did the capability come from? Where did that knowledge come from? It all came from the Lord. And using that, we are trying to serve the Lord. But still, the Lord accepts it, though it is like showing a lamp to the great sun. How much light can you show to the source of all light? Right? So it's like that. Such a beautiful verse. Yeah. Yeah. The citizens arrived before the Lord with their respective presentations. They all took presentations and they were offering it to the self satisfied Lord. He's Atmaram. He doesn't need anything. He's self sufficient. He has everything. What the Lord doesn't have. He has everything. Hmm? Atmarama Purna Kama. He's not only Atmarama, he's fully satisfied. So if there is some need and something is given, like for example, on my birthday, if I'm given a nice dress, I feel very happy. Why do I feel happy? Because I had something missing in my life and somebody gave it to me. So then I feel satisfied. But what is the Lord missing? What does he not have? He's Purna Kamam and he's Atmaramam. He's always satisfied. But still, the citizens, they went and they gave him beautiful presentation out of love. Yeah. But he's the source of everything. These presentations were like offering the lamp to the sun. Yet the citizens, not only did they give presentations, they started speaking very sweet words. But how much can a person speak? Gadgada. They were getting ecstatic and they were welcoming the Lord. But this ecstatic language is like the wards. Wards means children, child. One who's under protection is a ward. He's under the protection of the parent, so he's called a ward. Okay, so just like how wards welcome their guardian and father. So, such a nice thing. Yeah, purport. Prabhupada says. The Supreme Lord Krishna is described here as Atmarama. He's self-sufficient. He doesn't need anything. He doesn't have to look for happiness elsewhere. He's Purnakama, completely satisfied. And he's actually he's bliss personified, right? He's Satchit Ananda. Where is the question of him looking for Ananda elsewhere? That is the Supreme Lord. And he's the source of everything that mankind has. And where is the need for him to take some presentation that he has created? But then he's the well-wisher of one and all. So he'll accept anything that is offered to him with love. Love is the key. If it is offered with love, then he will accept it. So he's in pure devotional service. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. So if you give it with love and devotion, he's ready to accept it. And the comparison made here is the offerings is like the lamp in the worship of the sun god. So the sun is very fiery. And what is the use of offering a lamp to something that is fire? But anyhow, there is, though the Lord doesn't need anything, this exchange is a matter of pure love and affection between the Lord and the devotee. So, Prabhupada continues to say, the Lord is the supreme father of all living beings, and therefore, those who are conscious of this vital relation with Lord can make filial demands from the Father, and the Father is pleased to supply such demands to the obedient sons without bargaining. The Lord is like a desire tree, and from him everyone can have everything by the causeless mercy of the Lord. As the supreme Lord and Father, however, he does not supply to a devotee what is considered to be a barrier in the discharge of devotional service. See, we cannot offer anything much to the Lord, but when we do it with love and affection, the Lord accepts it. But sometimes we keep asking something from the Lord. Of course, He's a desire tree. He's able to satisfy all our desires. But then, if the desire we have is only going to be a barrier in the discharge of devotional service, the Lord will not give it. Okay? So, unless we are pure devotees, we are not approaching the Lord for something mundane. Then only we can make progress in devotional service. So that's what Prabhupada writes in this purport. But with this, we will stop for today. And next Tuesday, Mataji will continue from verse number 6. Okay. I saw some chat message. Mhm. She has sent the message. Oh, this is Andal Pasuram apparently. She says it's not Vrinda Vaishnavi Mataji has. Yeah, Vrinda Vaishnavi Mataji has said it's not Nammalvar, it's Andal, who was also in a similar rasa. So the translation is, O King of all conscious, you get to take the nap on the hand of the Lord who has a red-hued lotus-like. Oh, no, no, no. This is another. Sorry, it is another verse composed by Andal. It's not the same verse, it's a different one. The translation is, O King of all conscious, you take a nap on the hand of the Lord who has red-hued lotus-like eyes and dark-hued form. This is comparable to the white swan drinking nectar from the newly blossomed red lotus flower. Your wealth is the greatest of all. No, it is the exact thing that is mentioned in Bhagavatam. Another verse written by one of the Alvars by the name Andal, she has written a similar verse from Bhagavatam, whatever Bhagavatam mentioned. So she says that this is comparable to a white swan drinking nectar from a newly blossomed red lotus flower when you play the conch shell. Mataji, I don't know if you sent a private message. You should have sent it on the group. Let me add this. It's beautiful.
What we said was only Arvas, I'm sure, and it is
Yeah,
only
yours is
Nammalvar.
yours is Nammalvar. You're right, Mataji. This is a different verse, which resonates with the same verse as Bhagavatam. Yours right, man. Yours is Karpuram Narume, that
Yeah,
one, na?
Karpuram Narmo, Kamalapu Narmo.
Yeah, Kamanapu Narum.
The
Yeah,
same
that is
thing,
it.
yeah. Because say
Yeah.
the lotus and then the camphor, is it? He's asking about two things: about the smell of his lips and about
Yeah.
the sweetness of his lips.
Let's
Only
yeah.
the conch shell can feel it. So, what is the
Mm.
smell? Is it like a camphor, or is it like a beautiful lotus flower, or also is it as sweet as this? So, very sweet, as a sweet like Titti Tirukuma is only a sweetness of the highest order. Is it that way? He's questioning the conch shell.
Yes, Mataji, you're right. That is Nammalvar, and this is a different verse that is very similar to the analogy given in Bhagavatam. Nice. Thank you both. Thank you both for giving nice parallels. Yeah. Praladananda Prabhu.
Pranamata, would you allow me to express some personal reflection?
Yes, why not?
These chapters are very dear to me since I was born very near Dwarka, you know.
Haribol! You have Dwarkavasi with us, huh?
Yeah. Very near from there. There's a small town. My father was posted there as a government servant. I was born in 1953. Recently, I turned 72. And as you are mentioning about, what desires we should have, so I'm having desire, praying to Lord Sri Krishna, that now at the fag end of my life, I wish to leave the body at Dwarika.
Haribol!
That's what I'm praying, that, I would go back there and settle there for last years like that. So this is my really little personal, wish I wanted to. Yeah. Thank you,
Even
Mata.
I want to come to the Dwarka soon.
Very well, Mata.
I want to visit, yeah. It's a desire for a very long time. Yeah.
It's a nice ISKCON temple there also. I visited some years back.
Wow.
In Dwarika.
Very good.
Very well.
Thank you, Prabhu. Anything else anyone wants to add? Okay. Okay, so then we can end the call and we'll meet again on
Mataji, you
Tuesday.
traveled for Navadwaraka. We recently traveled. It is great to see everything around that area. That'll be very nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll send some information to you when you
yes.
go, because that is it's a travel. It's a big travel. It can be made easy also. But for you,
Mm.
it should be difficult. From US, traveling is, it's very hot area, but it's very nice, Mataji.
Definitely, Mataji. Please send.
Yeah, yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Okay. Panchakalpatarubhishcha kripa sindhubhyavcha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaः. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, dear devotees. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Bye.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.